Hey guys, it's just me, Nikki, and we are gonna watch my girl ParkrosePermaculture. Um, Listen, I'm new to this whole video thing, okay? So we're gonna do a Nikki stitch. This is how I stitch because I don't know how to stitch. I am all new to this. I'm trying to learn. But I just came across this video on YouTube and it chilled me to the bone, to the core of my soul. I'm literally, if the camera is shaky, I'm sorry, but I'm literally shaken because there's so much adrenaline pumping through me right now because I'm so just full of rage and torment, I guess is the best way to put it. So again, I don't have a great camera, and when she plays the video that she's stitching with, because she knows how to stitch, because she's the queen, she's been doing this for a minute, yeah, it's gonna glare out, and I'm gonna do my best to edit it out. But again, the important thing is what you're hearing. So just listen, and we're gonna talk about that after, okay? So, and please go follow Rose Permaculture on all her socials. Um, I'm sh- I know she's on YouTube. She posts to Facebook, but she doesn't spend time on Facebook. She's on Instagram, Blue Sky. So go look for her. Just find her and follow her because she has a lot of good information and she has a steady way. You know, she she's she's steady, and that's what I like about her. Is she's not a fearmonger, and she's just, I'm sorry the camera's shaking. I'm trying to hold back tears actually. um I just like her steady way. I find her soothing and very, very informative because I have a hard time watching the news and scrolling and doing all that. I have a really hard time, and it's mostly because of my health, my physical health. And, I really am grateful to her for doing the hard work because she's the one who is doing all the hard work, really. And I wish I had more strength to do more. I really do, especially after seeing this video. So we're going to watch this, and we're going to gaze upon it because we have to. And, okay, I'm going to play this now.
A couple of nights ago, I was up in the middle of the night, unable to sleep, as is the case for many of us, I think, on a regular basis, thinking about our friends in Minnesota in particular right now. And I was scrolling Instagram, and I was hit with this video that has haunted me, and I think lots of other people. There is nothing graphic in the video, but it's quite upsetting. What you're going to hear is about 1,000 children in a detainment facility, a concentration camp in Texas, who on Saturday decided to, they call it an uprising. It basically was a protest, and an attorney for immigrants happened to be outside and capture it on video. I'm outside. I'm outside. It doesn't say out here. And I've just been ordered to leave the premises. I've just been ordered to leave the premises, and she's yelling at me right now, so I'm gonna head back to my car and try and keep you abreast of the situation. That was attorney Eric Lee, who was showing up to try and meet with clients and happened to stumble upon 1,000 children screaming for liberty and to be set free. And of course, the guard didn't want him to film that, right? So she chased him off. ICE's abduction and detention of children is something they've been doing for a long time. Kids in cages, right? This is not new, but it has accelerated dramatically under Donald Trump and this weaponization and lawlessness of immigrations and customs enforcement. The Marshall Project, as of December of 2025, said that more than 3,800 children had been abducted by ICE and stuffed into detention facilities. They're concentration camps. Like, why are we still using euphemisms like detention facilities? If you get to the end of this video and you still think that detention facility is the correct term instead of concentration camp, then I'm happy to make more videos explaining in greater detail why these are concentration camps. Now, ICE's policy is that they don't take unaccompanied minors, and in fact, the law requires that unaccompanied minors who are
inadvertently taken by DHS be released within 72 hours. That's not been what's happening, and in fact, more than 1,300 children were held for more than 20 days, which exceeds the legal limit of how long children with families can be detained. We're seeing families that are held for months and months, children being held for months and months in concentration camps. And you might ask why? Why are they doing this? Of course, the cruelty is the point. Of course, Stephen Miller is running the show, and he is a white supremacist, literal Nazi, who wants to commit an ethnic cleansing, right? The reign of terror is the goal for him. The cruelty is the point for him. He relishes the cruelty. He enjoys it. He gets off on it. And I'm sure Donald Trump does too. I'm sure Kristi Noem does. I'm sure she does. But as with everything the Trump regime does, there's another layer to it. So let me read this statement from the former head of policy at ICE under Joe Biden. His name is Scott Shukart. He said, you have that spike around 20 days where they're trying to hold people as much as possible. They want to be able to hold families indefinitely and remove them or pressure them to give up. They want to be able to hold families indefinitely. Good time to remind everybody that the Dilley, Texas detention facility concentration camp, where you heard those children screaming for freedom, that is run by a corporation named CoreCivic. And we've seen conflicting amounts on how much they get paid, somewhere between $165 a day and $445 a day, depending on what sources you look at. That's how much they get paid in our tax dollars to keep children detained, to keep them in cages, to keep them sleeping on the floor, or sometimes in bunks. My congresswoman said sometimes they're in bunks under little metal blankets, and not given enough food, not given enough access to medical care. CoreCivic is making billions off of it. Ethnic cleansing is big business in the United States of America. Concentration camps are a lucrative venture for a number of corporations in the United States of America. I'm gonna get real mad. I'm trying not to get real mad. Okay, so let me show you one other clip of these children in Dilley, Texas. Attorney Eric Lee, who has been making the rounds on the media trying to bring attention to what's happening to these children. Here's what he had to say in a recent interview.
Water is putrid. Even though baby formula has to be mixed with this water, sometimes kids can't even drink it. The food often has bugs, it has dirt, it has particles. Medical care is routinely denied. One of my clients had appendicitis as a child in this same El Gamal family. The officials at this facility, when he came to them writhing in pain, screaming and crying, they told him, take a Tylenol and come back in 3 days. It wasn't until he passed out and started vomiting in the hallway that somebody finally came and took him to an urgent care, where they made him sit for 6 hours without a doctor, without an appendectomy, before they finally, in the middle of the night, someone decided, well, maybe we should take this kid to San Antonio for his surgery. That's the type of treatment that these children are experiencing in this place.
What does that make you worry or imagine maybe happening at times behind closed doors in these detention centers?
Well, I don't have to imagine it. Other clients of mine are detained in places like the East Montana facility in Texas. They are being beaten by guards. They wrap flannel around their fists. They take them into the shower where there's no cameras, and they beat them up so that it doesn't leave bruises. That is what is being experienced in some of these facilities. It's very difficult that was an adult, that particular story. But these children are routinely subject to verbal abuse, to racial abuse, to guards telling them if they try and complain. Somebody told me today, don't waste my oxygen. That's a line that the ICE officers say if you try to ask for a little bit more food, maybe a little bit more privacy, religious accommodations. So the Trump administration, they're professional liars. Nobody should expect anything different. They're now assassinating American citizens in the streets of American cities.
Last year, I think it was in April, I talked about how there were reports from immigration attorneys that families did not have enough water at this facility in Texas, that children were fighting over water in these concentration camps. This is really the final boss of capitalism. This is the future that Donald Trump and Elon Musk and all of these guys envision. for the United States, where we are not human beings. Our suffering is just an opportunity for them to profit. It's just how can they make money off of us, giving us the most abysmal conditions to live under. If you don't think what they're doing to immigrants, to little children in detention is something they want to be able to do to all of you, wake the fuck up. I know that Americans don't seem to have a lot, white Americans especially don't seem to have a lot of compassion for brown kids, but history will judge us for having allowed this to take place at all, and the longer it continues, it just is. So many children are just being so incredibly traumatized, abused, and traumatized. Yeah, and it's all like, for what? These families have done nothing wrong. These children have done nothing wrong. Over and over again, we see that these folks get released when our members of Congress can come in and create pressure because they haven't done anything wrong. And even if they weren't here on asylum, even if their family didn't have legal status, being undocumented in the United States is not a crime. It's not a crime. It's a civil penalty. And it doesn't mean that they can lock you up indefinitely and deny you due process. But the longer, they want to be able to lock you up indefinitely because that means more and more and more of our tax dollars go into the coffers of Geo Group and CoreCivic. Because ethnic cleansing is big business in the United States. But you don't have to take my word for it. Listen to another attorney explain what's going on at the Dilley facility in Texas.
Family Residential Center in Dilley, where families are being held. Your organization has sued the federal government alleging inadequate food, medical care, education, and safety. What are the most striking examples you witnessed that illustrate those failures?
Well, there are really profound problems with basic needs like food and water. So we have seen and heard a lot of things about children not getting child-friendly food, not being able to eat what's offered. As you mentioned, people reported vegetables that were moldy or had worms in them. People have gotten sick following meals. Know that the detention of children of any kind is really harmful. And so what we see is that as kids are in these prolonged restrictive settings, they really begin to deteriorate. They have regressions in behavior. One mother explained that her previously happy toddler was starting to hit her and hit himself in the face because he was so distraught over the conditions in which they were living. We've just seen otherwise really well-adjusted kids really devolve into concerning, just constant sadness, nightmares, crying every night. One teenage boy described to me, a big kid, he was maybe 16 or 17, that he cries every night when he goes to sleep in the detention center where he's held with his mother.
I really appreciated this attorney bringing up the fact that children being kept in concentration camps is really fucking bad for their mental health and their psychosocial emotional development. Like, it's just, it's disturbing to me that we have to remind people that children are not meant to be kept in concentration camps, and it has a negative effect on them, even if they're getting their basic needs met. And at this Dilley, Texas facility, and I assume facilities elsewhere, it's true for children and adult immigrants, they're not getting their basic needs met. They're not getting access to sufficient nutrition, sufficient healthy food that's not rotten and full of bugs. And they're likewise, we actually, as well, I should say, we heard that the food they're being served is not developmentally appropriate for very small children. It's not the kind of food that is safe and accessible for very small children to be consuming. And as attorney Eric Lee said, children on formula, they're being forced to mix formula with dirty water. Don't get me started on how the number one cause of death for children around the world is diarrheal diseases that they get because they're forced to mix formula with dirty water. And that's what's happening in the United States of America. Children are being fed food that is unsafe for them to eat, food that's making them sick. So they're not getting their basic needs met. And it's not just food and water. It's not just the fact that these kids are having their psyches impacted in a way that we can't even begin to understand how traumatized these kids are. They're also not getting access to basic medical care at the same time. As Eric Lee said, one of his patients had appendicitis that went untreated. There have been multiple cases of children who have had medical emergencies, and the guards have been like, take Tylenol, fuck off, you're bothering me, right? And then those children end up in a medical crisis.
One other deeply, deeply concerning thing that we've seen in this iteration is really concerning medical conditions. So children are not getting the care, that the medical care they need. A lot of people are coming in with dangerous chronic medical issues that are not treated or are incorrectly treated. For example, regular childhood illnesses become very dangerous in detention. So one child had an earache that turned into such a severe infection that she experienced hearing loss, and she really wasn't treated for a long period of time. And then when she finally was treated, the antibiotics they gave her were extremely strong and caused her a lot of distress. And so we see a lot of problems with just basic health, basic access to basic needs.
This is not new. This is not new. Let's remember, we heard about tender age shelters during Donald Trump's first term. There have been kids in cages in the United States. We've been traumatizing immigrant children in this country for an awfully long time, but it has dramatically increased. Donald Trump is using the system that was there, DHS, Immigration and Customs Enforcement, in order to amplify, exaggerate, more effectively carry out an ethnic cleansing. He has weaponized a system that has been funded by our taxpayer dollars by every president and every Congress since 9/11. The system of oppression was already set up. Donald Trump and Stephen Miller have just weaponized it. They have just juiced it up. They put it on steroids. So I don't really see how we can have a conversation about the suffering of children in concentration camps in the United States and not logically talk about defunding and dismantling or abolishing, whichever word you want to use. If abolish is a word that upsets you, my congresswoman said that word scares too many people. Fine, dismantle. We need to be talking about dismantling ICE and DHS as a whole. The entire system is rotten, right? There's no way to reform a system that is fundamentally built on exploitation, is fundamentally built on private corporations like Geo Group and CoreCivic making a profit off of human suffering. I don't know how you look at what's happening in Dilley, Texas, and you walk away thinking anything other than the federal government and these private businesses are setting up and running concentration camps for the sole purpose, the dual purpose, I should say, of enacting a white supremacist plan, of committing an ethnic cleansing, and then expanding that to everybody in the United States. Okay, I'm sorry, but if you can't summon up enough empathy for these kids who are being held in a concentration camp in Texas screaming, "Set us free," then at least think of yourself. Understand that what is being done to these children, Stephen Miller wants to be able to do to you and your children. If you speak up against the government, if you dissent in any way, they want to stuff your whole family in a place like that. It is the first they came for, homes like that. This is how fascist regimes work. If you don't care about the most vulnerable, then they're just going to keep moving on until they get to people that you care about. And then they get to you and your children. Please understand, this regime doesn't care about American citizens. They don't care about American kids. The Republicans showed us they have no qualms about starving Americans. After all, Trump and Mike Johnson, they were more than happy to cut off food stamp aid to America's poorest children and starve America's poorest children. They had no problem. Republicans gleefully cutting off Medicaid, basic medical care for the poorest children in this country, for disabled people in this country, for the elderly in this country. They had no qualms about doing that. So you think that they won't have any qualms about taking you and your kids and putting you in a concentration camp? After all, it's big business. If there's profit to be made, especially in a kleptocratic system, in a thievocracy system, where it's our taxpayer dollars, they're bucking us over, taking our taxpayer dollars, instead of putting them into things like affordable housing, or healthcare for everybody, or FEMA, or functional roads and a functional electric grid. Instead, no, funneling it into Immigration and Customs Enforcement, including these corporations, Geo Group and CoreCivic. Billions of dollars are going to them to run concentration camps. It's big fucking business. And the more the more they can bill the federal government for, then the richer they get. So they are incentivized to put more and more and more people. It starts with immigrants. It moves on very quickly to whatever group they want to target next. And it will very quickly become political dissidents. This is how fascist regimes operate. This is how fascism and capitalism work like this to deprive us of our liberty. It's not going to stop with little brown kids. It's not going to stop with little brown kids. So if you don't care about them, then care about yourself. Help them because you're worried about the reality of the situation, that they will do it to your family as soon as they possibly can. And I always try and end my videos with some kind of call to action or some way that we can feel empowered instead of just horrified, right? The solution here is to put huge amounts of pressure on all of your elected officials to dismantle ICE. Not just what Chuck Schumer is saying right now, like, oh, have them wear body cameras. No, the whole system is fucking rotten. It's rotten to the core. We're at a moment where the majority of Americans are opposed to ICE. The majority of Americans are openly talking about how we need to abolish ICE and DHS. Not just, okay, they can go around continuing to murder us and stuffing our neighbors and their children into concentration camps as long as they are no longer wearing face gaiters and they have like a body cam. And Republicans don't even want to make those concessions. They want this to continue. They want this to continue like this. Your elected officials don't have any problem with this continuing. It is up to us, the people, to build our collective power and to exercise that collective power to stop this. There really is no quick fix for those children or for us as a nation. It's going to take a lot of heavy lifting. We need everybody on board. We need all hands on deck. The way you can help those kids, yeah, pressure your electeds, but get trained in civil resistance techniques and get plugged in and start taking action. It takes mass participation, mass disruption of the system, and that takes time. And in the interim, those kids are sitting there screaming for us to set them free. So we have to get to work.
Wow. Okay. Wow. 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 I am, first, thank you, ParkrosePermaculture, for that. Thank you for putting in the work. Thank you for subjecting yourself to all of that. So I can just come here and react to it because I'm not doing good. Fuck everybody who says that this is a political thing and that we should be able to have political discourse. What? If you do not see the inherent evil in any of this, you are evil. If this doesn't shake you to your core, you are evil. If you think this is okay, you are evil. If you can gaze upon those kids, children, screaming for help, and be okay with that, and be able to lay your head down and go to sleep like life is a fucking party, you're fucking evil. If you can listen to all the things that the lawyers were saying about how they're being deprived important medical care, food, clean fucking water. If you can listen to that and go, fuck them, you are fucking evil. Anybody who supports this is evil. The fucking end. I have been fucking warning people since Sarah fucking Palin, since W. Pay attention. The fucking signs are there. Sometimes knowing history is a blessing and a curse. It's a blessing and a curse. Because when you really know, when you really dig into a historical subject like I have, because I'm fascinated by cults, And the Nazis are the biggest, most fascinating cult one can learn about. And I don't even know what... I have been, since W is saying, since the Patriot Act. Since the Patriot Act. That is a most fascist document. It resembles Hitler's document for Homeland Security. It's very worded, it's worded very similarly. What's happening? That's not good. And other things, and people just be like, what the, yeah, whatever, you know, as soon as you mention Nazi, you've lost the argument. Okay, all right, you don't want to see it, you don't want to see it. Sarah Palin comes on the scene. That's it. I've lost my mind. I'm like, okay, the Nazis, she is the mother of fucking fascism. Sorry. Everybody wants to think this is Trump. She is the mother of fascism. And John McCain is the father. Because he never shut that fucking cunt up. He let her go on with her fucking fake news and her fucking alternate facts and fucking palling around with terrorists and all the dumb, crazy, racist shit that bitch said. Ooh, fuck John McCain. And Sarah Palin is the mother of fucking fascism in this fucking country. And I tried telling everybody, listen guys, the Nazis are fucking coming. They're like on the march. They are coming. She is the mother of fascism. Do you fucking hear me? The teabaggers, the whole fucking Tea Party, all that. Guys, you don't see it? You don't fucking see it? No, nobody saw it. Everybody refused to see it. And I could see it as clear as day. I could see it as fucking clear as day. Like I'm a fucking prophet. But I'm not a fucking prophet. I just know history. And then 2015, this fat fucking orange ogre Hitler fucking wannabe steps on the scene and says, I'm fucking running for president. And everybody laughs. I didn't laugh. I didn't laugh at all. Because I had seen enough things about that motherfucker to know he's crazy. He's fucking crazy. I remember a reporter who had been like doing stories on Trump since like the fucking 80s. And he said that when he interviewed his family, that they all treated him like he was a cult leader. And when they would talk about him, they would look to the sky. And he found it very fucking creepy. Because the Trump organization is a cult. It's a fucking cult. Corporations are cults. I mean, they are. There's cult mentality that goes on in fucking corporations. Because you have to be a little fucking brain dead and heartless to work in a fucking corporation. So then he starts talking about walls and Muslims and banning Muslims. And I'm like, guys, we don't fucking hear this? And everybody's like, Congress isn't going to let him do that. The people he hires around him, they're not, nobody's going to go for that. He's just talking out of his ass. Talk. Talking out of his ass. And then he got elected. And then everything started to hit the fan. And still I was saying, he's a fucking Nazi, guys. This whole fucking thing is a regime. They're fucking Nazis. No. Kids in cages. Kids in cages. Kids in cages. Talked about it then in his first term. That's fucking, they're concentration camps. Internment camps. Talk to George Takei, who was literally held in an internment camp for 5 years during World War II because he was Japanese. So I just want to say one thing too. I'm going to digress a little bit here. This is not the first time we've done something like this. But here's the thing. We should have learned. We should have learned. George Takei has never been silent about what it was like living in that internment camp. And he has called it a concentration camp. And I have heard him describe it, and it sounds abysmal and torturous. And it was in the middle of the desert, away from everybody's eyes, so you couldn't see how these people were living and being treated like less than animals. We treat our animals better than they were treated. And then COVID hit. And in some ways, I think COVID saved us from him. because we all had to go inside and we had to stay the fuck inside. And most of us did. Most of us did follow the rules. Were they too much? Maybe, on hindsight. But I would rather be too extreme and not get sick. I have an autoimmune disease. My husband has MS. We can't afford to get sick with COVID. So I think COVID saved us. I think the universe sent us COVID to save us because we were all inside. And that's where we had to stay. And I think it saved us. And then we get a little respite. But, you know, they're behind the scenes working. Behind the scenes, setting the stage. But we did get our respite with Biden for 4 years. And it was nice. Quiet. But it was never fully quiet because they were always in the background preparing. And we tried to warn you, if he gets elected again, there will be no sane people around him. The cult will be fully indoctrinated. And it will be so much worse than it was the first time. And COVID isn't going to come and save us this time. It's not. We have to save ourselves because nobody else is going to save us. Who the fuck is going to cross that ocean from fucking Europe and from fucking Asia and come fucking help us? All of them combined don't have the military that we have. That's why we police the world, because we have spent so much of our money on our military while people go hungry, while people go without medical care, while people go without clean water. Literally, Flint, Michigan, a state run by Nazis, didn't give one fuck if people were getting sick from the water. Remember that? Just my TV. Remember that? They don't give a fuck about you or anybody, just themselves. We warned you. I've been warning motherfuckers since W. Because I was watching the signs. And after 9/11, watching all the signs, seeing everything. And just everybody mindlessly walking around, just listening to George Bush after 9/11 say, go on vacation, go to the malls, spend your money. What the fuck? What? How about join some community, help your fucking neighbors? People are traumatized, terrorized. No, go spend money, because that's all that fucking matters to them is money. Money. That's it. And now here we are, after we tried fucking warning you. And I don't know how many people have been killed by these fucking brown shirts, and we'll never know. We'll never know. Because how many people here are undocumented? Those people are gone. We'll never know. Because not everybody's being murdered on fucking film. And you know, I've always had a thing about hating fucking cameras everywhere and everybody ready to fucking record everything. Because I grew up in the 70s and the 80s. There were no cameras. Big Brother wasn't everywhere. But you know, on the flip side, thank God. Thank God for these fucking cameras, right? In our pockets. And these drones. Because that's how they got that overhead shot of those children screaming and yelling for our fucking help. That doesn't bother you? That doesn't bother you? How does that not bother you? How the fuck? I'm I'm not ParkrosePermaculture, so I don't have to be fucking professional. I'm not trying to make money off any of this. I'm trying to get you fuckers to listen to something I've been trying to tell everybody about since 9/11. And here we are. I can't even believe here we are. I can't sleep. I can't eat. I can't concentrate. That is not like me. To not be able to sleep. Sleep is my favorite thing in the world. How can I sleep? How can any of you sleep? How can any of you know anything about history and sleep? How can any of you look at what we just watched together and think any of this is okay? How? Tell me how. I want to know how. I want to know how you do that. Why isn't everybody fucking screaming from the rooftops? Why isn't everybody screaming? Why isn't everybody scaling the fences of the fucking White House? What the fuck is happening? What the fuck is happening? Why do so many people seem to not care? I've never believed in American exceptionalism. I never have. But we were better than this. We used to be a little bit better than this. This is a regression. This isn't evolution. This isn't moving forward. This isn't being better. This isn't knowing better and doing better. This isn't that. My heart is racing. I can feel the adrenaline surging through me. I don't know how to soothe myself because, how do you soothe yourself against that, what you just saw? How? How do you soothe yourself against that? What are they doing to those kids? What the fuck are they doing to those fucking kids? These kids are never gonna be fucking right. They're living in a horror movie right now, and I know because I'm obsessed with horror movies. And these kids are in a horror movie, and when I watch horror movies, I always say about the final girl, oh, that bitch should just die because she ain't ever gonna be right in her fucking head. And you know what? These fucking kids ain't ever gonna be fucking right. A part of them is forever gonna be fucking broken because of this. Because of this. Nobody comes out of this. Nobody's gonna come out of this unscathed. None of us. But nobody is gonna suffer like those kids. And you're okay with this? Don't ever fucking try to argue with me ever again about why you support this, about money and your pay and the price of groceries and gas, because I don't even give a fuck about any of that right now. These kids are not getting medical care. They're probably being fucking sexually assaulted. Of course they are. The president is a fucking pedophile. He's a fucking pederast who pals around with pederasts. fucking George Soros, all the dumb shit you say. Meanwhile, in reality, over here on Earth 1, there's a fucking concentration camp full of fucking children screaming for fucking help. Who are the fucking people who work there? I want to watch them suffer. And if that makes me bad, then I guess I'm bad. But what do we do with rabid dogs? We put them down. And these are the most rabid dogs I've ever encountered in my fucking life. They are fully foaming at the mouth with rabies. Fascism, Nazism is human rabies. I am beyond incensed. I'm so fucking out of my tree right now with insanity that I am swinging from somebody else's tree all the way over in fucking Australia. That's how fucking out of my tree I am right now with insanity. The pure fucking insanity from watching nobody with any kind of fucking power fucking do anything. I don't even know what else to fucking say. But I do know when all this fucking goes down and all is revealed, I will never forgive any of you. And I am one of the most forgiving people I know. In fact, I preach forgiveness all the time. I tell people to forgive because it's good for you to forgive. You know, it's not about releasing the person of responsibility if you forgive somebody. It's about you not living with that pain inside of you. But I think I need to live with this pain inside of me a little bit. Because I'm part of this country. I'm part of those children. I'm part of the people who are being murdered and terrorized and tortured and tormented, and I'm sure sexually assaulted and trafficked. She mentioned how concentration camps are lucrative. Children being trafficked is also very fucking lucrative. And it wouldn't be the first time that people in high places traffic children through the courts. Things like that. It's not the first time. It's just the first time it's ever been like this. Wow. I'm gonna go now. And I'm gonna go watch fucking Star Trek Starfleet Academy because I need some hope injected into me right now because I'm feeling very abysmal right now because things are very abysmal right now. And I'm gonna go get real fucking stoned. I have to. I'm gonna go get real fucking stoned. I'm gonna get an injection of fucking hope from Star Trek. And I'm just gonna try to send positive fucking energy out into the world from my heart. Towards everybody. To those fucking kids. I wanna reach out to them with my heart. Let them know that we're not doing our best, but some of us are at least trying to get the word out. We're at least trying to get the word out for somebody to fucking do something. I'm just some fucking broke bitch from fucking Massachusetts who's fucking sick. This is all I fucking have. This is all I can do. And I feel fucking helpless. fucking useless. See, this is what crying looks like, Erica Kirk. This is what real fucking crying looks like. This is what real fucking crying looks like, you fucking Nazi fucking cunt. Okay? God, please, something has to fucking give already. Please. Something really fucking has to give already, please. Somebody has to do something. Please. If you're an attorney, if you see this, if I don't know who can do something. If you have people who work at these places and you see this, stop. Stop. You can stop at any time. You can be good and help. You can stop at any time. You don't have to do this, okay? You don't. Just please stop. Please. Please fucking stop. Please fucking hurt these. Please stop fucking hurting these fucking kids, please. Just go home. Call a fucking investigative journalist. Call your representative, your senator. Call. Try to make something happen. Do something good. Please. Anybody who can do it. Please. Okay. I'm gonna go now, okay?